Equality is a vital need of the human soul. It consists in the public, general, and effective recognition, expressed in reality by institutions and customs, that the same amount of respect and consideration is due to every human being, because respect is due to the human being as such and has no degrees. Therefore, the inevitable differences among men must never bear the meaning of a difference in the degree of respect. For them not to be felt as having this meaning, a certain balance between equality and inequality is needed. A certain combination of equality and inequality is constituted by equality of opportunity. If anyone can reach the social rank corresponding to the function he is capable of fulfilling, and if education is widespread enough so that no one is deprived of any capacity by the mere fact of his birth, the hope is the same for all children. Thus each man is equal in hope to each other, for his own account when he is young, for the account of his children later. But this combination, when it plays alone and not as one factor among others, does not constitute an equilibrium and encloses great dangers. First, for a man who is in an inferior situation and suffers from it, knowing that his situation is caused by his inability, and knowing that everyone knows it, is not a consolation but a redoubling of bitterness. According to the characters, some may be overwhelmed by it, others led to crime. Then it inevitably creates in social life like a pump sucking upwards. It results in a social disease if a downward movement does not come to balance the upward movement. Insofar as it is actually possible for a child, son of a farmhand, to be a minister one day, in that measure it must be actually possible for a child, son of a minister, to be a farmhand one day. The degree of this second possibility cannot be considerable without a very dangerous degree of social constraint. This kind of equality, if it plays alone and without limits, gives social life a degree of fluidity that decomposes it. There are less crude methods for combining equality and difference. The first is proportion. Proportion is defined as the combination of equality and inequality, and everywhere in the universe it is the only factor of equilibrium. Applied to social equilibrium, it would impose on each man charges corresponding to the power, the well-being he possesses, and corresponding risks in case of incapacity or fault. For example, a boss who is incapable or guilty of a fault towards his workers should suffer much more, in his soul and in his flesh, than an incapable laborer, or guilty of a fault towards his boss. Moreover, all the laborers should know that this is so. This implies, on the one hand, a certain organization of risks, on the other hand, in criminal law, a conception of punishment where social rank, as an aggravating circumstance, always plays to a large extent in determining the penalty. All the more so the exercise of high public functions must involve serious personal risks. Another way to make equality compatible with difference is to remove as much as possible from the differences any quantitative character. Where there is only difference of nature, not of degree, there is no inequality. By making money the unique or almost unique motive of all acts, the almost unique measure of all things, we have put the poison of inequality everywhere. It is true that this inequality is mobile. It is not attached to people, because money is won and lost. It is nonetheless real. There are two kinds of inequalities, to which correspond two different stimulants. The almost stable inequality, such as that of old France, arouses the idolatry of superiors, not without a mixture of repressed hatred and submission to their orders. The mobile, fluid inequality arouses the desire to rise. It is no closer to equality than stable inequality, and it is just as unhealthy. The French Revolution of 1789, by putting forward equality, actually only consecrated the substitution of one form of inequality for the other. The more there is equality in a society, the less is the action of the two stimulants linked to the two forms of inequality, and consequently others are needed. Equality is all the greater as the different human conditions are regarded as being not more or less the one than the other, but simply different. Let the profession of miner and that of minister be simply two different vocations, like those of poet and mathematician. Let the material hardships attached to the condition of miner be counted to the honor of those who suffer them. In wartime, if an army has the right spirit, a soldier is happy and proud to be under fire and not at headquarters. A general is happy and proud that the outcome of the battle rests on his thought, and at the same time the soldier admires the general, and the general admires the soldier. Such an equilibrium constitutes an equality. There would be equality in social conditions if this equilibrium were found there. This implies that each condition should have its own marks of respect, and that these marks of respect should not be lies.